Hi, I'm Melissa from Yoga with Melissa. Today we're doing a Chakra Yin class with Yin Tonification. Thank you for joining me for this Chakra Yin class with Yin Tonification. You are going to need a bolster, 2 blocks, probably a couple of blankets, one for underneath you, a wall, and the second blanket is useful to have to sit up on for meditation or for forward folds. And also it's useful to have a meditation cushion as well. We are going to be doing a seated mudra today. Let's begin by resting back in Shavasana. It's a good idea to use the bolster underneath your knees, especially if you have low back problems or pain. And also for the smooth flow of chi through your body. So begin by feeling the support of the earth underneath you. So this isn't a beginner class on the chakras. It assumes some knowledge of the chakras already. Your root chakra is at the base of your spine. Your sacral chakra in the middle of your pelvis. Your solar plexus chakra just above your navel. Heart center, right at the heart center. Throat chakra here at the throat. Third eye, above and between the eyes. Crown above your head. And we're going to be moving through each one of these today and focusing on bringing the fragmented energy in. So generally excessive energy in and tonifying the yin, since it is a yin class. So generally our energy is quite distracted and scattered and fragmented. And when this happens, we experience things like insomnia, we feel exhausted and burned out, anxious and depleted. And in this Chakra Yin Yoga class, we're going to tonify yin at each chakra to build and fortify our yin energy. So instead of searching for energy outside of ourselves, in this Yin Yoga class, we're going to tonify yin at the level of each chakra to build the vital energy and fortify chi from the inside out. So Yin Yoga works with the deepest layers of our body, the connective tissues that wrap around the joints and the bones, and the subtle energetic body known as the meridians. And so with Yin Yoga, instead of rushing around on the surface of our lives, we slow down, we're still, and we soften to move more deeply into the dense, darker, more moist, juicy parts of our body. And experiencing the depth of energy that is possible from our inner world allows for balanced and flowing chi. Okay, so we're going to wiggle and stretch out a little bit and start to prepare for our first pose, which will be a first chakra pose to tonify yin in the first chakra. I'm going to give you a couple of options for this. It's going to be toe stand. So for toe stands, you curl your toes under and you sit back on your heels. So this isn't possible for everybody given their toes. If you have hammer toes and such, it can be too much weight pouring through your toes. So if that's the case, then you're going to do, you could use your wall here and just place your toes up against the wall, and to whatever degree is possible, lengthen out your toes here. Okay, so that would be less weight pouring through your toes. So shall we? So the root chakra is at the base of your spine through your legs and your feet. Okay, so you're going to slowly let this toe stand out of your body. And just feel the chi pooling there. In the second pose, I'm also going to give some modifications for, because it's not going to be for everybody. If you have knee issues, it will probably be too much for your knees. So you could lie on your back and do knee to chest pose. And it's nice to do knee to chest pose with your feet against the wall, because then you don't have to hold on to your knees through the pose. So we're going to do squat pose for this. So it's good to have a folded blanket, or you could use the edge of your meditation cushion to fill the space on your heels. And then you're going to open your legs, and you're going to sit back into your squat pose here. So our root chakra corresponds to the earth element, and our connection to earth is home. So to tonify yin here, we're going to focus on energy that is often disconnected, anxious, restless, caught up in our mind with overthinking, and bring it back down into our bodies, down into our legs and feet, and feel our connection with our place on the earth. So the earth is a sacred place that provides our most basic needs for nourishing food and to shelter us for rest. But how often when we are home in our homes, or at considering being at home on this planet Earth, do we actually allow ourselves to focus on how we are provided in terms of rest and nourishment? And how often are our minds elsewhere? Okay, from here we're going to rest back on our backs for a moment and just feel the rebound, the flow of chi through our bodies. Just notice how you've cultivated the yin in your root chakra down through your legs and your feet. Okay, and then from here we're going to bend our knees, roll to the side, and we're going to take our mat and place it perpendicular to the wall, because for our second chakra pose, we're going to do keyhole pose for the second chakra. So just take your mat. Place it perpendicular to the wall. You don't need to get yourself super close to the wall here, because it's useful to have a little bit of space between you and the wall. And then you're going to swing your legs around and have your legs up against the wall. And cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, and then just bend your right knee until you feel sensation along the outside of your left leg and into your left glute. So second chakra is in through the pelvis, the hips, and this is a yin pose for your hips. So even when we come into our Chakra Yin class, we remember the principles of Yin. So with any Yin class, we find an appropriate edge, and that's that middle way. That's that place between too much sensation, so that if you have too much sensation, the energy stays up at the level of the surface of muscles, and it fails to go deeper down into the body, where the dense layers of connective tissue wrap around the joints and the bones. Also, if we stay at too hard of an edge, we also fail to get into the subtle energetic body, the meridians. So we need to back off a little bit, and that's where we come to the second principle of Yin, where we soften. And when we soften, we find that place where we can access the meridians and the connective tissue. And then we are still. We make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to be still for the duration of the pose. And that means no fidgeting, no moving, no making the pose more intense, because Yin is different than Yang practices. It's a receptive practice, it's a surrendering practice, it's a softening practice. We allow the practice to do its work on us. Time is more important than intensity. So that brings us to the final principle of Yin, which is we stay for a while. And like I always say, if you go for acupuncture, the acupuncturist doesn't just put the needles in only to take them back out again. The acupuncturist puts the needles in, and then you have a very long and luxurious acupuncture nap, so that the chi can start to flow through the meridian channels in a very smooth and even way, a very harmonious way. Also, staying for a while in a pose commits us to Yin being a more meditative practice, and allows us to meet whatever sensations and emotions and energies arise in the pose. Okay, so very gently we're going to release the side by taking your legs up the wall. And pause here for a moment between the two sides and just feel the pooling of chi, the tonification of yin that's happening, especially on the left side of your pelvis. And then you're going to cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh, open your left knee out to the side, and slowly bend your left knee just until you feel that sensation on the outside of your right leg and into the right glute. And you know, this practice is all about creating shapes. It's not an aesthetic practice. Once you've created the shapes, then you've set your body up so that the tissues are pulled and pressurized so that the energy can start to flow through the meridian channels for you. And then you can just rest and receive the practice. From a yin perspective, the second chakra is about the movement of chi through the subtle energy body. Too much work, workaholism, not enough rest, not enough play, all of this leads to an imbalance in this chakra. When the chi moves without blockages or excess through the meridian pathways, we feel balanced, smooth, harmonious flow in our emotional and energetic bodies. This chakra is about opening to the movement of your life force energy in your body and feeling the subtle flow of the rivers of energy within you. Okay, so we're going to release this side with our legs back up the wall. And just pause here again for a moment and feel the chi pooling in your pelvis again. So just notice how the yin has been tonified in the second chakra now. Okay, and then from here, bend your knees and roll to your side. We'll move slowly between poses as well. And you're going to, you can leave your mat here if it's convenient for you in your space. If not, you're going to set it back up where you had it. And you're going to need your bolster for these next couple of poses. You may need your bolster, you may not. Depends on the tightness of your shoulders. So for this one, we're going to do a reclined twist. So you can put your bolster on the side of your mat and lie down on your mat with your both knees bent. Press into your feet, lift your pelvis, take them over to the right side of your mat, and then you can take both knees up onto your bolster. This can be a nice variation to allow you to be soft in the pose, to allow your shoulder to rest down onto the ground. If your shoulders are quite loose, then you might not need that bolster. Okay, we're going to come out of this third chakra pose on this side. Press into your feet. Pause on your back for a moment and just feel the pooling of chi just above your navel here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and set up your bolster on the other side. So put it on your right side, and this time you'll press into your feet, lift your hips, take them over to the left side of your mat, and lower your legs onto your bolster on the right side. And we will pause here. And on this side, just breathe into that space just above your navel, right into your third chakra. And focus on the chi pooling there and the yin tonification that's just happening as you receive this pose. The third chakra corresponds to the fire element and power. And we have a lot of examples of fire and power being in excess and out of control in our culture. In addition to that, most of us can have the experience or relate to the experience of being burned out. So this is all third chakra in excess. And through the practice of Yin Yoga, we can tonify yin and stoke the slow burning, gentle glowing embers of our fire to keep us warm and to sustain our energy over the long haul. So an enduring energy. Okay, slowly come back to the center. Untuck your hips and just pause there in the middle again, and feel the tonification of yin chi that's happened just at the level of the solar plexus. Okay, for the heart chakra pose, I'm going to show you 3 different options depending on if you have neck issues or shoulder issues. So the first is the full expression of the pose, which is heart melting pose, where you come forward and you rest your forehead on the ground and you melt your heart into the ground. This can be hard on your shoulders and your neck. So if it's just your neck that's an issue, then you can come and do the pose against the wall. This frees up your neck, but if you have shoulder issues, then it can still be hard on your shoulders. So then the option would be to use your blocks. And this way you can do it so that you're still getting that big chest opener, but you're not placing that strain on your... Sorry, I just noticed a plant that was not really fully on the table. That your chest can be fully open, but there's no pressure on your neck or your shoulders. So choose your best position, and you're going to rest back or choose a position. And the most important thing, no matter what position you choose in this pose, is to soften. And keep focusing on softening. Softening through your heart center, softening through your shoulders, softening through your neck. Just, you have to continually remind yourself to soften in this pose. So yin tonification of the heart chakra is necessary for excessive heart characteristics such as being overly ruled by your emotions, an inability to let go of past pain, poor boundaries, an inability to say no, tolerating too much from others to the point of poor emotional self-care, poor self-care in general. And as we come into the 4th chakra, the heart chakra, it's just important to note that the foundational elements of earth, water, and fire, the first 3 chakras, having a sense of connection to the earth, a really solid inner home, a connection with your subtle energetic body, and a connection with the slow burning, glowing embers of your inner fire and your inner energy really need to be very well established before you enter the territory of anahata or unstruck. This is a space of emptiness. And there has to be that super solid foundation before we enter there. And actually, from the earth, from the space of the earth, from the space of the 2nd chakra, the 3rd chakra, all of this manifests anyways. So when I work with my advanced students, we rarely work in this area. We spend most of our time down here, and this happens spontaneously. So I just really want to point that out, because a lot of times people go right for this without that solid foundation. So the heart chakra is the emptiness of space that gives rise to the warmth of compassion towards all beings, and all beings of which we are one. So there's that sense of interconnectedness as well. Okay, from here you're going to bend your knees, roll to your side if you're on your back, or carefully come out of the pose if you're in a version of melting heart pose, and lie back on your back and just feel the yin tonification, the pooling of chi in the heart center. And then we're going to bend our knees, roll to our side, and make our way up to seated for the throat chakra. Okay, for this you're going to need some way of sitting, whether that be in a chair or kneeling on a block or sitting on a meditation cushion. We're going to be doing some neck movements. So from here, you're going to sit and you're just going to slowly lower your left ear to your left shoulder just until you feel sensation along the right side of your neck. Okay, then you're going to bring your head back to the center and just pause in the middle. Feel the flow of chi along the left side of your neck. So the throat chakra is all about communication, and we live in a world of excess noise, excess information. And in order to tonify the yin of the fifth chakra, it's important to spend time in stillness, in solitude, and in silence. And to connect with the truth of our inner world before we hope to allow expression in the outer world. So let's go ahead and do the other side. So just slowly drop your left ear to your left shoulder here, just until you feel tension along the outside of your neck. And then you're going to bring your head back to the center, pause in the center, and feel the tonification of yin that's happened in your throat chakra. Okay, for the next pose, we're going to do child's pose. With your no bolster, you're going to have your forehead resting on the ground. So if your forehead doesn't rest on the ground because the quads are overly tight, then do knees to chest on your back with your feet against the wall, and do eagle's arms so that you're pressing the heel of your hand on your third eye. So either way, the third eye gets some stimulation. Okay, so rest forward and let your third eye rest on the ground. So you're feeling that pressure on the third eye. So when it comes to the third eye, we tend to outsource our imagination through television and excess time on social media. So to tonify the yin in the third eye, we need to stop looking outside of ourselves for all the answers and inspiration and rest deeply in our inner darkness, developing an inner confidence and strength in our inner vision. So it's by dropping inwards in this way, relying on stillness and silence and solitude, that we become illumined and blessed by the light within. Okay, slowly make your way out of this pose and rest on your back. Feel the pulling of the chi around the third eye and the yin tonification that we've done in that area. Okay, and then you're going to bend your knees, roll to your side, and come to a comfortable seated position again. For this one, you're going to need either a chair or a meditation cushion again, or blocks to kneel on. We're going to sit with a mudra for 5 minutes for your crown chakra. So this is the crown chakra mudra, and it increases your experience of the interdependent nature of all things. And the way you do it is that you join the tip of your index fingers and your thumb to create a diamond shape. And for this one, you do need to either be standing or sitting upright because your crown needs to point towards the sky. So you can't really do this one lying down. And you're going to hold the mudra about 6 inches above your head. Okay? And you want to relax your shoulders, breathe naturally, and imagine that you're receiving a shower of light from above. So as we arrive at the crown chakra, it's not unusual in our yang excess world to feel mental overwhelm, confusion, and brain fog. So tonifying yin through the stillness and the silence and solitude of meditation allows us to feel a sense of groundedness and connection to all that is. This mudra improves brain function. It reduces headaches. It increases concentration. It stimulates the pituitary and pineal glands. It activates the body's self-healing power, calms the spirit, and it induces a feeling of connection with all of life. And you're going to slowly lower your arms down and rest back in Shavasana. Great idea to place a bolster underneath your knees for the flow of chi and also for back issues. Okay, so as you rest back in Shavasana, feel the tonification of Yin, particularly around your crown chakra, just above your head here. So continue to rest back here, and I'm going to sit up and close out with a short reading by John O'Donohue. So today we have been focusing on tonifying Yin through each one of the chakras. And this reading on stillness and silence and solitude are three things that I feel are important to tonify Yin. To return back into ourselves, there are three things needed for which you don't require a computer, a television, or a radio. The first is a bit of stillness. Nothing can happen without a certain stillness. We also need silence. There's nothing so vocal and articulate as silence. All good language, all great words are born of it. And the third thing we need is solitude. We need to acknowledge that solitude is an invitation to the soul to come alive. Solitude is utterly luminous if we lose our fears and begin to enter it more deeply. So gradually allow your breath to deepen, wiggle your fingers and toes and start to stretch out. Bend your knees. Roll to your right side. Pause there for a moment. And slowly make your way up to seated so that we can close out our practice by gathering the fruits of our practice into ourselves and then offering them out into the world. So we start with our left palm up, our right palm down. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. So I get a lot of questions about what that mantra means, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, and every time when I say, may all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all, I'm translating it for you. So the translation is in every episode as well, just so you know. Thank you so much for being with us in this Yin chakra class with Yin Tonification. Give yourselves a thumbs up for tonifying your Yin in each chakra today, and put in the comments, I tonified my Yin in my chakras. I tonified Yin in my chakras in the comments today. And please share this class with your friends that you think would enjoy it. And if you'd like to explore the principles of Yin, then if you are new, I have a 5-class series that goes through each one of the principles of Yin, on finding edge, on softening, on finding stillness and staying a while, each one of those. And I can send that right to your inbox. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. And if you are more advanced and you'd like to really deepen this and explore how you can live those principles fully in your life, because, you know, we have 24 hours in a day, and to take 1 hour on our mat really is not enough to balance our yin and our yang. So to take these principles of, you know, finding that middle road, finding that appropriate edge skillfully, you know, that is something that in our membership community right now, we're taking a whole week on that. And then the next week, we're asking what it is to be soft in our lives. And then in the following week, we're asking ourselves to be still. And then in the final week of November, we're exploring what it means to stay for a while rather than always moving on to the next thing. So those are the kind of things that we do in our membership community. We take concepts and we really delve deeply into them. And if that appeals to you, if that's something that kind of lights you up from the inside, then I put the link to our membership community in the show notes as well. So I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as our Pacific Ocean. May you be as strong as our mountains, and may you be as rooted as the old growth trees in our forest. Om Shanti. Namaste.